Hey everybody, it's Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we got a great episode. We're going to be taking a look at some Underwood ammunition. Their 68 grain maximum expansion and our Bodyguard 2.0. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. So here we are out. We're continuing our series in the Bodyguard 2.0, testing ammunition, especially self-defense ammunition, to see what works. This is like episode 33 or 34 or something like that in our series. And this time we're going to start testing a little bit more of the solid copper expanding bullets. We've tested some non-expanding. Now we're going to get into some monometal expanding bullets. Now I tested the cellular and below XRG bullet, and it did really well, actually. Today we're going to test one from Underwood. They call it their maximum expansion. I think it's from Lehigh Defense, but it should be a good round. What I'm concerned about with two things with it is, will it get deep enough as it expands so much? Because sometimes these copper bullets really expand quite a bit. And in 380 ACP, that can be really a detriment. You want expansion, but you need to get deep enough penetration. So we're going to be taking a look at that today. In our series, we've tested all sorts of rounds. We've tested hard cast lead. We've tested flat nose. We've tested hollow points, some that expand, some that don't. We've tested external hollow points. So we're just going to be continuing our series, testing some of these monometal rounds that do expand. Let's go down and take a look at what our test setup for the day is. Today we're going to be using, for our test setup, 2 layers of t-shirt, 2 layers of denim, followed by 2 inches of clear ballistic gelatin, followed by some medium density fiberboard. Yes, this is similar to what Gun Sam uses in his testing, and I borrowed it, but I used different amount of gel before it, and we have some different guns and some different ammunition. Also, it's good to sometimes follow the same protocol so that you can compare what he's getting in some of his guns and some of his rounds to what I'm getting. Followed by that, we have a whole bunch more clear ballistic gelatin. Yes, I'm well aware of some of the differences between organic gelatin and clear ballistic gelatin. Feel free to check out my video series on comparing various calibers with the ballistic tests between clear ballistic gel and organic gelatin. I also have a whole other bunch of series on my thoughts and feelings on how we create some of these simulations and what's building a better simulation to be a simulation of what might happen in human tissue. All right, with that said, should be a good time. Let's get to testing. Oh, and by the way, we're going to test it out with this setup, and then we're going to move all of this, and then we're just going to shoot it into clear ballistic gel. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. Okay, let's just take a quick look at this round. You can see again a solid copper. It's really hollowed out, and they have really long cut grooves to get that expansion going on in here. Again, it's a 68 grain projectile. Very interesting design, non-traditional. We'll see how it performs. Let me start the slow motion camera. All right, 984. Let's go down, check it out.
Got him! Got him!
Well, this is one of those cases I sort of feel like I got suckered into buying this one. So let's just take a look and see what we get. Went in through the gelatin, went into our gel block here, started to expand very well in that first couple of inches of gel. Went through our medium density fiberboard for 380 ACP, got a decent sized hole, and then stopped. Yeah, we went a total of, accounting for, at the extent, 4.75 inches, and then bounced back to about 3.75 or 4 inches. That's terrible, guys. This is in contention for the Winchester silver tip ammunition that we tested. That stuff was equally pretty bad. Pull this off because again we're going to shoot our next shot into it. Maybe hitting that medium density fiberboard caused the problems for us. I don't know, but let me try and pull what's left of it out. Okay, this is our bullet. I mean, it peeled back and expanded, but it got, you know, stuff in the middle of it, but expanded so much that it didn't get enough velocity to do anything. You know, maybe it would out of a longer handgun. You would get enough velocity to peel these back, so it'd do more initial damage, and then they'd start to go back and allow it to continue to go, to go through the gel block. But like that's great expansion, but like, you know, That's at 4 or 5 inches. That's not really not much in the gel. So that's, in my opinion, just sort of an utter fail. Sometimes you hear these stories, right? That, oh, I knew someone who got hit by a 380 ACP and they didn't even know they were getting shot. Well, in the morning, you'd know you got shot with this. There's no doubt about that. Could it kill someone? If hit perfectly right, it probably could hit the vital, a heart. But you'd be cut, you'd be sore the next day. But if you were drunk or something, I don't even know if you would. Yeah, crazy. Okay, well, we got this 68 grain maximum expansion. Let's shoot it just into the bare naked gel. You never know when someone is going to be coming at you bare naked and there's no clothing on them. Would this be an acceptable round then? Let's go down, check it out. Oh, we got 984 for the velocity. I think that's what was captured, unless it was the same one as last time, but it says 984 this time. So it got a little bit better performance, but still not acceptable. So this time came in, opened up again, very wide, maybe not even as wide as the last time on the previous shot. Got out to about a little over 7 inches and bounced back to 6.5 inches. So again, not the kind of performance that we're expecting. You know, maybe they're expecting someone to be, pocket carrying a 6-inch 380 ACP gun. I don't know. Yeah, not some of the best ammo that I have tested in our 30 rounds. Probably close to some of the worst in terms of performance. I'd rather have a non-expanding hollow point than get what these guys are doing, for me personally. So this was the round that we just shot in the clear gel, and this is the round with the medium density fiberboard. I almost wonder if the fiberboard helped push it back a little bit. But those are the two projectiles. That's what I was worried about when we started testing this ammunition, and yep. It's exactly what happened. Next up, we're going to be doing some chronographing or measuring the velocities of this ammunition to see what we get. Now, one thing is that we're getting around 980 feet per second. I was expecting for a 68 grain projectile to be getting 1050 or something like that. Maybe that's the problem with this ammunition, is if it had been loaded hotter, you would have gotten that. I still don't know, just based on that performance, but we're gonna get some more results here. We're gonna get 5 more rounds. I've got my Garmin 0C1 right here, and so okay, here we go. Oh, and we got malfunction. So it looks like it is caught up in between the lower and upper feed ramp there. All right, one more. All right, let's check out our session summary. Obviously, things aren't going really well for this ammunition. For our session summary, we got a min of 945, an average of 965, max of 1,007. So that's 61 feet per second spread. That's not great. Standard deviation of 22.7, average kinetic energy of 140. So not what I would normally expect to get from Underwood. Let's go see what it does when we shoot it into paper. Is it tumbling in midair? That would be the trifecta. We got problems in the gel, problems with feeding on the velocity readings, and let's see what it does in paper. Okay, so what I like to do with this is I like to just be at 5 yards, which I believe are typically kind of what you're going to be doing with 380 ACP. I like to see how it prints on paper. You could call it accuracy, but I like to see where the bullet and ammunition is moving relative to my point of aim, point of impact. And then I also like to see, are we getting weird flyers, the bullet starting to tumble as they're going through paper. Shooting into paper sometimes can tell you what the heck's going on. So that's what we're going to do. All right, let's go down, check it out. Shoots holes in paper just fine, so that isn't the problem. Notice we shot 5 rounds that time. We didn't have any feeding issues. I still chalk it up to 1 round out of like what we've tested now 12 rounds had feeding issues. That's enough. That's too much. Okay, not that this is part of my normal testing protocol, but we're out at 50 yards. I want to see if we can get a shot down at the steel. Let's see if we can do it. 4 for 4 at 50 yards with a little micro 380. That's pretty sick. Okay, well, let's wrap things up. Today we had the maximum expansion ammunition from Underwood. And yeah, it did maximum expansion, but it did minimum amount of penetration. So this is not a round that I would recommend. Maybe this is your favorite round and you love it and you're going to justify your purchases in the comments below. I look forward to reading those comments. For me, not going to be one that I'm choosing. I think if it were loaded to 1050 feet per second, that might maybe it would do sufficient damage and get sufficient penetration, blow off some of those petals and get deep enough, but it's just not doing that. I think that some of these new alloys that they're coming up with for expansion other than lead show some promise, but they don't work in all situations, and this is clearly an example of that. I am still trying to do my best to go out there and find out various 380 rounds. I know I've had a lot of requests from folks in the channel, test this, test that. I've even gotten requests for things I've already tested. So, but I'm working my way through the ammunition that I've already purchased, and once we get to that, we'll seek out other alternatives of things we want to test. But we'll keep going on the series as long as people keep on watching. I know I find it interesting. I think 380 is an interesting round to study because it's just slow enough that it may not do the things you want to do. So finding the right ammunition out of a little micro 380 gun, I think is important to really give it some thought and give it some study about what you want to run it in. I know there's going to be a whole crowd of just say run flat nose FMJ, run hard cast. I get that. There's a whole crowd of you. I love you all. You're great people. I still think that there are better options out there. And so we'll keep looking for them. All right, with that said, hope everyone has a great week. Let's get to shooting.
From pistols to rifles, we'll take on the best. Reviewing each weapon, put them to the test. With revolvers and shotguns, we'll break it all down. The Second Amendment protects from the crown. Living for freedom.